Oregon State at Washington, probably the most intriguing game of the night. Washington is out to I'm interested in this game for Washington win total perspective. They're 6-2. I think you have it too, over 7.5. They get Colorado at home next week or 2 weeks, but they're at Oregon, which is probably a loss. And then they have like a coin flip against Washington State to end the year. Getting this game will guarantee the win total for what it's worth. They're 4.5-point favorites here. I could only look at Oregon State. And the reason is Washington's defense is awful. So it's hard to lay any number with them. Everyone could score on them. Although there's weather here, which is worth noting. And if you look at Oregon State's defense, they're actually pretty good against the pass. Struggle a bit against the run at times, but Washington doesn't really run the ball. And if there's weather here, who does that favor? There could be rain, and that's why the total has come down as well. But I can't ever get behind laying points with this Washington team. Offense is great, but their defense just can't get stopped. So yeah, and Oregon State is a competent offense. So what do you see here?
Yeah, this is an overplay all the way. I know the total is dropping. I think it opened 60 at some book on Sunday, and now it's down to 54. We've crossed 55, the key. Obviously, 52 being the next number. We'll see if it gets that far. I want the over in this game, and I know it's 50% chance of light rain. I know it's 15-mile-an-hour sustained winds, but at the same time, I'm not worried about winds with Michael Penix's arm at all. I mean, he's got a hose. It's just going to rip through whatever that is, whatever the wind is going to be. Now, Oregon State, on the other hand, Chance Nolan was limited practicing this week with a concussion from week 5. He might return. That would be a big upgrade over Ben Goldbrinson. I mean, he's been tepid in passing attempts, no mobility to scramble. That kind of changes with Chance Nolan. And, Washington's off a bye week here, where they had the lowest offensive score they've had at home was 29 points against Michigan State. And I don't see any reason that Penix is not adding to his, 22-4 TD to INT. His turnover-worthy play rate is 1.1%. And I know a lot is going to be made about the weather. But if you can avoid, if the wind is not going to – if the wind's going to play a factor with kicking, and the wind usually plays a factor with quarterbacks that don't have very strong arms, I don't see that being an issue with Washington because Caleb DeBoer came out and said, we will have high percentage throws that will get the ball into our best targets. And what that tells me is this Oregon State defense, which has zero pass rush whatsoever, is not going to be able to cut the way that Washington's going to cut. I think there could be a lot of offensive scores here. Slippery football does not mean under football. Sometimes it's an advantage of the offense if they're the ones that can work in space. So I don't see how I see the under steaming down, but I'm going to take the over here. And at a minimum, I'm going to take Washington on their team total over because the Oregon State defense, I don't think is going to be able to stop them. And for what it's worth, if you're a trends person, every game at home this year, Washington's gone over. Every game Oregon State's been on the road this year has been over. So the over is the look.